All right. Good evening and good night, and welcome to the It's Your Perspective Talk Show. It is Tuesday, September 13th, 2016. My name is David, a.k.a. Kimber, a.k.a. Christian, alongside. Yeah, Soup, we back. Just want to say that this is the It's Your Perspective Talk Show every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 p.m. until. We do have a telephone number, 340-201-9005. You can also text us on this number as well. If you're too shy to call or text, hit us up an email, streaming live from the VI at yahoo.com. But most importantly, go to our website, streaminglivefromthevi.com. Click on the tab that says Watch Us Live, and you'll be able to see the show tonight because we do have a special guest in the studio. Our guest has heard this before, but we are in the high-tech, low-tech studio, coming to you from an undisclosed location here in St. Croix, Virgin Islands. No radio or TV, internet only, so get your iPhone, your iPad, Mac, Windows, computer, Linux. Open up your browser, type in streaming live from the vi.com. Check out the show tonight. All our recorded live shows are on YouTube and Ustream.tv. Search for our channel, It's Your Perspective Talk Show. 2 Facebook pages. Want to give a quick shout out to CHS class in 1982. Big ups to that whole entourage there. But most importantly, to all our past guests, thanks for being on our show. We're on Twitter as well. Hit us up at VI Perspective. Tweet with us there. Super moving straight forward and up, man. The show's mission is just to inform, entertain, and empower everyone. Want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Maggie's Party Decor, Supersonic Computer Services, and Add a Touch Boutique here in Sunny Isle Shopping Center. Big ups to Joanna and her crew down there. Check our website for contact information. Real quick, we're also simulcasting the show tonight on our new founded radio station, streaming live from the vi.com radio. Download the app from the Google Play Store, the Apple Store, or if you're into TuneIn Radio, search for us in TuneIn Radio, streaming live from the vi.com radio. And enjoy the show. Soup, you ready?
Yes, I.
Bless that mic, man.
All praises be to the living eye. Jah Rastafari. Good night to everyone. Hope everyone had a good day and even a greater night. I'm reading from His Majesty speeches. I'm reading about complete responsibility for Africans. We are here all dedicated to the betterment of the conditions of man's life. We all know the sorrows of misery of those who do not live but merely exist. But the lot of men whose living conditions are substandard. But when we speak of the betterment of man's life, we mean not merely the economic improvement of living standards. We refer, in addition, to the spiritual condition in which man lives. For just as a man without means to feed his hunger and to clothe his nakedness can take no pride in his existence as a human being, so also is one who is reviled and discriminated against because his race or religion, rob of his self-respect and human dignity. All praises be to the living eye. Jah Rastafari.
Yeah, Soup, thanks for that, man.
Yes, I.
And as we roll on here, man, it's about 8:15 p.m. We do have a special guest in the studio tonight, man. There he is right there, man. Wave to the crowd, Khadijo.
Right.
Everybody is seeing you live and direct. So welcome back, man. I know you were here several months ago.
You're right.
And you're back again?
Yeah, I'm back again.
Continuing to do some stuff, man. So welcome back.
Thank you.
You continue on with the xylophone.
The Vibraphone.
The Vibraphone.
Vibraphone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what have you been up to since you were here last, man?
Well, since I've been here last, I've been working on polishing my craft and making sure that is publicly acceptable. I've always been playing, but just now that I'm really honing in on my artistry for Reggae Jazz Vibraphone.
Okay.
Which is it's not a brand new thing. It's something that's been going on since the 60s or 70s with a Jamaican fella by the name of Lenny Hibbert.
Okay.
And Lenny Hibbert, I think his one hot song was called Red Hot. And he had several streams of hits, and he played with others and collaborated with other people. But since then, vibraphone music within reggae is totally unheard of. It's not because they don't want to use it. It's just there wasn't probably anybody to play it. So, but I've taken up the mantle to revive that kind of music for the world, not just for the region where I live within the Caribbean, but the whole world.
Okay. Okay.
A vibraphone is explain to us what's a vibraphone.
A vibraphone is a metallic instrument that has bars on top, and you hit the bars with a mallet where it has synthetic yarn on top of it, and it makes a sound. The vibration part is underneath the bars where it has a fan that blows underneath, and that fan goes around and around and around, and that creates the sound to vibrate as it comes out of the instrument through the resonators and out. So it's almost, well, because we live in the Caribbean, I'll give you the perspective. So take a steel pan, and steel pan is round, but stretch it out and put some fans underneath, and that's what you'll have the vibraphone. Now, the next thing that you need to have is a pedals, which is sort of like a piano. So the vibraphone has a pedal, and that dampens the sound. With steel pan, you can't dampen the sound. You just have to move to the next key, and or you can possibly touch, the pad area of where you're playing. But a vibraphone has, once you press that pedal, it stops the sound immediately. So that's the sophisticated part, much more so than the steel pan.
So xylophone and vibraphone, are they one and the same, or
No, they're not. They're similar. The xylophone is a wooden sound, so the wooden bars on top, and the vibraphone is a metallic sound. So the vibraphone that I have, it has a nickel metal top, right? So you hit that and you get that metallic sound.
Okay.
So one is wood, one is metal.
Okay. Okay. Nothing digital about that.
There's nothing digital other than the motor that's on the side, and maybe you can turn it down, you can speed it up, or you can speed it down so that the fan blades don't turn as fast. But the faster it turns, the more the sound goes,
It vibrates out.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. And so you're trying to, I guess, mix reggae and the sound of a vibraphone together.
Right.
And I mean, how is that going? I mean,
well, let's back up a little bit. The vibraphone really stems from a jazz era. Lionel Hampton was the famous guy that started it, the godfather that started it all. And then since then, it's just been a wave of different artists that came along. People like Stephen Harris, Gary Burton, Joe Locke, I'm pulling guys from my head, and many, many, many others, many others. It's just not known here in the Caribbean that much. The reggae part is sort of just the accompaniment music that is under the jazz sophistication on top.
Okay.
So you'll still hear that reggae bubbling from the bass and the drum, the one drop drums, but you're hearing that sophisticated line. So with and I always tell people this, with reggae singers, they just sing within a few pitches, maybe 5 or 6 pitches. But with an instrumentalist, even with a saxophonist, they're playing all of it.
Yeah.
So the vibraphones and anybody else, even if you pull up music from Augustus Pablo, even though he had that melodica, right, he was using all of it, and it was in a jazz sense. Tommy McCook played saxophone and flute, and I think something else from the Aggravators. If you listen to it, and you'll hear all those horn parts. So reggae music really need people who have some lineage to jazz music, because if you were to look at some of Bob Marley's music written down, it's a bunch of jazz chords, and people think, well, I don't hear no jazz in it. Well, you may not hear jazz in it because you're so into the sound of reggae, but really and truly, the chops that you hear is jazz. It's just chords that you hear, ta-ta, all that stuff. You're hearing chords and stuff like jazz.
Yeah.
So it lends a lot to jazz music.
Okay. So talk a little bit about how you got into all this. I know you were at this from early on.
I got into music really from young, super young. 5 years old, started playing the piano. By the time I was 10, I started playing pipe organ with the manuals and pedals and all of that stuff. And by the time I left here in high school, I went off to Berklee College of Music and I started studying music on, not so much on a classical level, because when I left here, I was studying classical music, Mozart, Beethoven, all that stuff. But when I got to that International School of Music, then everything opened up. I met guys from Africa, I met guys from Brazil, and they were just as enthusiastic about music like I was.
Right.
And the only thing at that time I could play were keyboard stuff, but I left learning how to play congas, vibraphones, xylophones, and, messing around with little things here and there. Even bass, I do a little bit of it. But that's what happens when you go to places and you're supposed to, you're paying all this money,
Right.
to go to these schools. And my mother, she'd have my ass for it. So, she, go there and do what you got to do. And so it just grew on me. And then I said, the piano was my main thing at that time. And it was my main thing for a long time. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to get back into playing the mallet instruments. And one day I was practicing. I think it was a Beethoven sonata. And it was getting really involved. And I usually practice for 2 hours, sitting at the piano and just working it out.
Oh, really? Okay.
And the band room was next door, and I heard somebody playing on the marimbas. Now, the marimbas is very similar to the xylophone. It's wooden, but it's got a deeper sound.
Okay.
So I heard somebody playing on that, walked over, walked into the band room, saw him doing his thing. I watched him, and said, yeah, I could do something like that too. And he's like, well, go over there on the vibraphone and see what you could do.
Yeah.
And the same piece that I was playing, the Beethoven piece that I was playing, I was tinkering it out on the vibraphone. And it just came natural to me to just play it like that. But that's the thing with music. Once you know the foundations of it, you just have to learn the technical parts of how to operate the instrument.
Yeah. So when you went to school, what were some of the the individuals in other countries? What were they playing when they came to school?
Well, one guy, he was from Sudan. He was playing the kora, which is the African harp.
Okay.
And it's a big bowl and a long string that stems up in the air and strings behind of it. And he was just playing it. Man, this guy was like a virtuoso on it. It's almost like a Celtic harp, you
Right.
Irish people. And the Brazilians, they were playing their berimbau and they were playing their different types of drums. And, they had, for them, everything was bossa nova, because that's what they are. They're into that. And, they were really into jazz on that Latin level, So American jazz was something that they had to learn about
Okay.
because they were there. Then there were people from Ireland who played fiddle, violin, and they were really good at what they do. The American guys, the black American guys, they were into the bass, the drums, the common instruments that we know in the Western world. But there was a Japanese girl. She was playing, a Chinese, and she was playing the pipa, sort of like a little guitar, almost similar to a banjo. But, it's amazing when you go to get out of this Virgin Islands bubble and experience what life is out there. You come back much more humble, understanding that, hey, I need to bring this back home to my people and let them understand, that there's a whole world out there.
Yeah.
So with me teaching right now, I try to get that across to people and let them know, hey, yeah, we may think that it's just a steel pan, but there's a lot of people that are playing the steel pan right now, and they're better than you. So you need to practice.
Have you been teaching the vibraphone anytime in your
Not
career?
lately, not lately, because since I moved back home, so it hasn't been. But I'm open to having a student that's willing to learn. Don't come around and waste my time.
Right.
But yeah, I'm willing to do that if a student comes forth. Um,
Are there like various models sizes of the vibraphone? I mean, is it just kind of
There are
one size?
there are student models, there are intermediate models, and there are professional models like what I have. Um, Vibraphones are pretty much they're pricey instruments. So if you're going to buy one of these things, you better be serious about it. It's not like it's not a pair of drumsticks that you can just chuck away because it takes up, a couch or furniture size piece,
Right,
so
right.
it's not something you can just hide away in your closet unless
Okay.
you break it down and
Okay.
put it away.
So now with your reggae music, have you been working with any other musicians, or you just making this compilation yourself?
I'm working with some musicians. One of my musicians that I'm working with is Yoshe Daniels. He's my saxophonist that we work together as a duo. There are some singers that are coming up on the collection of music. I don't like to call it an album, but I like to call it a collection of music because it's for that particular time of my life.
Right.
And so there are some singers and there are some other people that I would really, really, really like to work with. It's just a matter of scheduling and time, and we get into the studio and we'll get it done. So it will sound just like a reggae jazz album. You hear the reggae part bubbling underneath, but you hear those, jazz technical things on top. Not to say that it is gonna be sort of boring, sort of like bebop jazz. Da, 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 da. It's not like that. You're gonna hear a melodic line, and it's almost like a sing-along type of thing.
Okay.
But it's just that there's no words, but you can hear the melody. It's sort of like you whistling a tune.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what we're gonna do, man? We're gonna play a song, "A Real Love."
A real love was something that I did a few years back. I think it was 2006, 2005. The album came out in 2006, and that was the first budding seeds of me incorporating reggae and jazz together. It does not incorporate the vibraphones because that didn't come just as yet. I was still working with the vibraphones, but you can hear the reggae and the jazz influence because I composed it for 2 guitars and full band.
Oh, okay.
And there's nobody like with you on this. Just you.
Most of the instruments that I played to computer MIDI systems, and also I had to get in touch with a guitarist and let him know this is what I plan to do, and he guided me through the process and even put in some licks in there to help me along the way. I don't play guitar, but I write the music for it, and he'll tell me, well, that doesn't work because I don't play guitar, so I don't know how fast he can move his fingers. By piano, I can move my fingers really fast, but I don't know
Right.
how well. So when you compose, you have to compose with the mind of a real person has to play
Play
this
that.
thing.
Right.
It's sort of like a speech. You're not writing it for yourself. You're writing it for, or you're saying it for the audience. So that's the way you have to look at music when
Yeah.
you're from the behind the scenes type of thing. Because when that performer presents it, it has to sound what you heard in your head.
Yeah. Yeah. So how is the public, accepting this whole concept of the vibraphone and reggae music?
Well, the Crucian public or the Virgin Islands public, it's only been very limited. So because it's new, it's a new thing because no one here is playing the vibraphones per se,
Okay.
and you'd never really need to hire a vibraphonist. You quicker need a piano player or a drummer, or before you hire a vibraphone. That would be the last set of musicians you would ever need. It's sort of like a harpist. You don't need a harpist, at your jam band festival. You need a harpist at your wedding.
Yeah.
you know, and stuff like that. So that certain instruments, you put them in the perspective of the events of your life,
Right.
you know.
All right, so we're going to take a listen to this song here. It's called A Real Love.
Yes, A Real Love.
A Real
This
Love.
was back in 2006 from my album,
And
After All This Time.
You did this here or you did this away?
No, I did this away.
Okay. All right, so we're going to take a quick listen and we'll be right back. Here we go. All right. We are back. This is your Perspective Talk Show every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's about 8:36 p.m. It's Tuesday, September 13th, 2016. Our guest tonight in the studio, Khadijo. There he is right there. Wave to the crowd one more time,
Yes,
man. Yeah, I like that tune right there. So you were saying that this is
vibes, you know?
from 2006?
Yeah, this was my first single from 2006, and from the album After All This Time. It's available on iTunes, Amazon, and Spotify, and you can listen to it. It's out there.
Yeah.
So,
I remember around the time when you came here the first time.
right.
I actually saw a video on YouTube. You were in some. You were somewhere in a club performing. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah. I've done some performances in some jazz outlets like that, and that was the first time I introduced the vibraphone to that particular crowd, and
But tell us where that was.
that was in Bermuda,
Bermuda. Okay.
right?
Okay.
Because I lived there for a number of years,
Okay.
and they really liked it. I had an encore, and all that cheerful stuff. So, it was really good, well received, because again, we have this notion of thinking that certain instruments are only supposed to play with certain things.
Right.
I have seen a harpist play with a rock band, and you don't see that. And we need to get out of that mind thinking that we're supposed to pigeonhole these instruments only with like, say for instance, steel pan. We think of it as only in a Caribbean setting, but there's some music that's written for steel pan that doesn't sound anywhere Caribbean. They
Right.
sound more contemporary classical. They just have the steel pan part written in
Right.
to make it seem that way. But when it's being played, they're like, well, it just sounds like some weird instrument. But that's the whole idea of us as musicians stepping out of our box, especially the ones who play different instruments that you don't normally see.
Right.
Say for instance, those Chinese and Indian and world musicians, they're coming out of their countries and bringing their music into. I'll give you a perfect example, and everyone here loves Midnight. Midnight has a song that they have, the choir, in which I was talking about my friend from college days. I forgot the name of the song. His name is Yosemite, something like that. But he plays the choir on Midnight's album, and people. I remember because I still have that album, and it was shocking. Like, what the hell was that? Because you're listening. You're no longer listening to Vaughn because you know what he sounds like. But
Right.
here is something he's incorporating something new, and that's what we need to get into when we approach music. We need to look beyond the boundaries of doing the same thing, because as an artist, and I know that for myself, you tend to repeat yourself album after album, and then people tend to, or you're predictable. They know what you're going to do, but that's the whole idea, to do something that is different. Music is not so much about entertainment. These days it's about enlightenment, and it's designed to make you think. Yeah, you're going to dance and shake your ass and all that, but it's designed to make you think about what the songwriter or the composer or the arranger was thinking about when he created this. So that's why I applaud Vaughn for doing what he did back then, and I know with even people like Tippy, they're incorporating different sounds into, not necessarily the actual instrument per se, but they're incorporating different sounds that are not really heard in reggae music. Because we tend to look at Jamaica as the pinnacle for what sounds good in Jamaica is probably what's going to sound good for everybody else. But reggae music is being done different ways throughout the world.
Yeah.
And we have to just open up our minds to understanding that California reggae sounds different from Japanese reggae or European reggae,
Yeah. Yeah. One of the other things that you're doing too is that you're a teacher.
Yes, I am a teacher. I teach I'm certified to teach all grades from kindergarten to 12th grade. And I try to get youngsters to understand music purely from a bare bones perspective. Getting them to understand about instruments, about musicians, concepts within music and things like that. Like, say for instance, they wouldn't know what the things that I know in my grand mind. But what I do is I take a small segment of the music that they're listening to, and I tell them about it. Like, say for instance, I remember last time I was doing this, there was an assignment that I gave my high school people, and they had to write a hip hop rhyme over the mixing beats, and I was talking about hip hop culture and stuff like that. They know about hip hop music, but the bare bones of it, they don't really know. And somebody's got to tell them. So
Right.
might as well be me.
Sure.
So, I mean, are they interested? You know, at that
They're
young age?
They're interested in modern music of now. They're not interested in the music of then,
Yes.
because obviously they weren't born then, and they're not really triggered to even know about that. But it isn't until they reach a certain age that their minds start to
To
ask
kick in.
questions
Right,
about things.
right.
And so, what's that about? You know, like right now I have a student who's getting ready to learn the flute. You know, she's never had a flute. She probably didn't know what a flute was. You know, she's seen it, but to actually hold one in her hand and put the fingering and let her know, you know, there's a flute player out there making $1 million a year by just playing the flute. And when I told her that, she was, really? So I could learn this? I said, yeah, might make $1 million.
Are you teaching them how to play the flute, or?
I know how to give lessons and play the flute, and because I start them off with recorder, the little plastic,
little plastic,
yeah,
right.
the little, and believe it or not, that little plastic thing you can rebound into trumpet and clarinet and trombone and stuff. My niece right now, she plays the trombone.
Okay.
Yeah, Khadijo, someone sent a text to us here. Hold on a second here, and they say, that's good music. I like it.
Okay.
It doesn't
Thanks.
say who it is. I guess I can say that it's the area code 215, and that's all I'll say.
215.
Yeah,
Okay.
they say, that's good music. I like it. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Khadijo appreciates that as well. So, when you're in a classroom with 9 and 10-year-olds,
Yeah.
and they're more into what are they into? I mean, are they into
Well,
the hip hop, the reggae?
They're into that. The good thing about music for them now is that it's popular, and you know it's always going. Like, you know, the class that I'm in, you know, they're hearing Virgin Islands Nice, you know, and they're just ringing it off. They're just, you know,
Yeah, know the words.
yeah,
and
they
everything.
know the words. They could feel the beat, you know, but not the beat how they say the beat is. Because the beat is just one,
One,
two,
two.
3,
One,
4. But the rhythm is something different. They go bam, 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 bam. That's the rhythm.
Yeah.
So getting them to understand the difference between a beat and a rhythm, and then understanding what are those instruments in between.
Between, yes.
Right. So, you know, they know about the music, so they could feel it. And because, you know, we as people, we can sort of dance to the rhythm. You know, we're not going to do, you know, a waltz on pressure music. Obviously not. But they can feel it, so they're at least open to it. It's just that the comprehensive part of the music they don't know, and that's where music teachers and music educators come in.
Khadija,
Go ahead.
you've been a music teacher here in the territory.
Yes, I have.
How do you see and you're doing this reggae jazz now? How you see reggae in a whole going forward here in the territory, especially here in St. Croix?
Right.
Do you see a future for it? Is there a future?
Yeah, of
out
course, there is. There's always a future for it. The only problem that I see is that there's not enough artists being pushed out there. You know, in Jamaica, there's like tons of people coming out on a yearly basis in wanting to be an artist. People here, they're serious about music, but they're not serious to that level, especially on the business side of it. You know, everybody wants to, you know, be an artist, but nobody wants to think about the money part and what you have to do to live that kind of life as a musician or an artist like that. So here, it's coming, but it's slow, as with everything else. You know, it's just, it takes time. But these people need to be supported and developed to their maximum potential in order to have more reggae artists out there. And I'm not talking about reggae music to the part where we're praising Selassie every 10 songs or 10 words. You know, we know about Selassie and all of those things, you know, but we want to hear about, and I heard Ras Isaiah talk about it, we want to hear about the real things as to why you are into the lifestyle, because Rastafarianism is a lifestyle. It's not a religion, like most people think. So your music should reflect those things and the things of your being. You know, it's almost reminds me of those guys that are into hip hop now. They talk about cars and Bentley and so. There's no Bentley here in St. Croix. So why are you talking about a Bentley? Why you don't pop Cristal and all of that stuff? Because you can't afford $100 bottle of even wine. So why are you talking about it? Right. And even if you're into the reggae thing, you know, you should, or even the dancehall thing, if you don't really live that life, you know, why are you talking about it?
Yeah.
So the sweet thing for me as an instrumentalist, I don't have to talk about anything.
Yeah.
The music speaks for itself. Obviously, I'm not a reggae guy. Everybody can see I'm more preppy than anything. But, you know, you can see I'm only about what I can, you know, afford and what I want to do with my music. I'm not trying to hang my hat higher than where my hand can reach.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question about the young lady you talk about that's interested in the flute. So, when school started, was she into the flute, or you were able to sort of get her on that track?
She told me about it, and I had a flute in my collection of instruments from years, and I said, if you're serious about it, I'll bring one for you. And when I brought it to her, her eyes opened up, and she was, I can't believe you're going to do this. You're really going to teach me the flute? I said, yeah.
Okay.
I can get you to that point. But, you know, with music, as with everything else that you want to pursue, you have to be disciplined. You know, music is a type of thing that you got to spend time with it. It's like a girlfriend. You got to spend time with her. You know, so you can't just say you're going to hang out at Sunny Isle and then, you know, you're going to play ball and all, then you're tired. No, you know, by the time you get back to your teacher who shows you, that teacher doesn't want to hear the same mistakes from last week. They want to hear, I would rather hear new mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, because that shows growth.
Yeah.
So when I told her these things, you know, before we even picked it up, or I opened the case and show her, you know, the three parts of the flute, the inside of the case, you have to sort of get that off right away to get her to understand this is very serious.
Yeah, talk a little bit more about the dedication. I mean, how many hours a day do you practice?
When I was younger, I used to practice 2 hours a day.
Okay.
And there were times where I would practice 2 hours a day, but it wouldn't be 2 hours together.
Yes.
It would be spread out. Now that life has taken over, you know, you got bills, you got things to do, you got family and friends and stuff like that. I practice when I can, but when I practice, it's more an intense time to practice. So I know in my mind what I'm supposed to be practicing.
Okay.
And I work on that.
Okay.
And I work on that and perfect it, and then I come back and I add something else to it and perfect the both of them.
Yeah.
And then move on.
So are you like working on techniques as far as playing, or working on?
Well,
like,
you're
new
always
song?
working on techniques. You're always working on techniques. Your scales are one thing. Your arpeggios for me, because I'm playing vibes as well as with piano and anything else. You got to work on the techniques and the rudimentary things that you're supposed to work on, because those are the basis of how your music is going to sound. If you don't, it's sort of like, I don't know, sort of like soup, drinking from soup from a bowl. We know that you're supposed to hold the spoon, and there's a way you hold the spoon. So you have to master that, and how to bring the you know, you don't just take the thing and just barrel it to your head.
Yeah, I got
So all of those things you have to master, and before you know it, you'll be able to incorporate a lot of those things, especially with us as vibraphonists. We incorporate a lot of those rudimentary things into our music that we practice.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Khadija, we got another song here, man. This one is one of your newest, I guess, songs.
Yeah, this is Come Alive. You're right. This is the first single that I've done, which is a calypso jazz tune. I haven't done any calypso jazz music at all. So I said, I talked to my producer and he said, yeah, it would be good for you to step out of your reggae jazz box and do something calypso jazz. Now, calypso jazz, as you know, it's not a new thing either, but with Vibraphone, it's a new thing. It's a new thing because we know calypso jazz is with Pan, with people from way back in the day, and artists like Andy Narell. The guy that I'm listening to is Etienne Charles. He's a trumpeter, and he's from Trinidad, and he's really doing it. So he's taking the jazz element and adding his Trinidad heritage into it, and it comes off really nice, and people love it. People really love it. So this tune is Come Alive. It features myself playing the vibraphones as well as the bata drums, and my partner Yoshe Daniels is playing the saxophone.
Your partner is here?
Yes, he's here. He's a chef here, a cook here. He has a food truck on the island. I think he's located right across from Sign Farm in that area. He's set up right there. He used to be down next to Jackie's here place.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Right.
So you're talking about the son or the father?
The father.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
So he's my saxophonist, and vibraphone and saxophone, they go well together.
Okay.
So that's what we did on Come Alive.
Son or the father?
The father.
The father.
Okay, I know what you're
Right.
talking about. I know what you're talking about.
So
you there? Oops. I'm sorry. What's going on here? Sorry about that.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, sorry about that. Hit the wrong button there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a listen to that song here real quick.
Right.
This is Come Alive. Khadijo's in the studio, man. Here we go. Oops. I'm sorry. What's going on here? Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, sorry about that. Hit the wrong button there. Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a listen to that song here real quick. This is Come Alive. DJ's in the studio, man. Here we go. Oops. Sorry, what's going on here? Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, sorry about that. Hit the wrong button there. Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a listen to that song here real quick. This is Come Alive. DJ's in the studio, man. Here we go. Oops. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a listen to that song here real quick. All right, we are back. This is the Your Perspective Talk Show every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's about 8:58 p.m. Our guest in the studio is Khadijo. There he is one more time, brothers. Say hello. Friends, family, worldwide, man. So we were just listening to Keep Alive.
Come alive.
Come alive.
Yeah.
Come alive. Come alive.
Yeah, a nice tune too.
Yeah, I like that one too, man. That's a nice kind of late night kind of music. Just kind of put that in
Mellow,
repeat
chill out,
and just let it play and play and play, you know. So,
soothing.
so you wanted to talk about
Butter drums.
the drums?
Yeah, the batter drums.
The batter drums?
If you download Come Alive, it's available on iTunes and CD Baby, and it's coming up on other sites. It's a brand new single that I released. It's a calypso jazz tune. So let's get that out first. It's a calypso jazz tune. It's not a reggae jazz tune. So I am not I'm a musician at heart. It doesn't matter what kind of music it is. You know, I've been trained to just read the notes. It doesn't matter if it's country music or some kind of music that's out there. My eyes just see the notes on the page and I play them.
Right.
That's what I know. It doesn't matter what kind of music. And that's where musicians need to develop their skills, because a lot of us just pigeonhole ourselves into doing, oh, I'm only going to do reggae music, or I'm only going to do jazz music. You need to do all kinds of music. Okay. All right?
So you can read music?
Yes,
I
I can read music, I can write it, and I can interpret what the composer is saying or the musician that was playing the music and stuff like that.
Okay.
So the batter drums. The batter drums is an instrument that I also play. I play along with the vibraphones, the piano, the xylophones, the pipe organ, and other things. The batter drums is a unique percussive instrument that it's known pretty much in Africa and in Cuba, and probably in some Santo Domingo and Puerto Rico and certain Hispanic places, Latin places, I should say. So way back in the day when I was learning congas, the batter drum was sort of like the next level of stuff that you should learn. Because when you start learning rhythms like that, and I learned it from the perspective of an African person.
Okay.
So his father was from Nigeria, because batter drums are from Nigeria. Batter drums, if you look at it online, don't check it out online, it's not like congas that plays on top. It's played on the side, and there's 3 drums. There's the mother drum, the father drum, and the baby drum, the okonkolo. And they're played separately with 3 different people, but the contemporary way to play these drums now are all together. So they're on a stand, a cradle, and they're placed lengthwise, and they're strapped with bungee cords to keep them in place. Because if you're hitting them, they're going to shift. They're going to shift. So you strap them down. The way I play them is I play them all together. And it takes some serious coordination. If you talk to a drummer knows, you know, coordination very well. And it's the same thing, because with the batter drums, there's 3 heads on one side and 3 heads on the other.
Side,
And with me, sometimes I play it with a hi-hat shakere, which is sort of like a shaker, but it's put on a hi-hat. So all of my body is into this instrument. You know, and it's going back and forth like that, and you have to move your hands around, because you're not just playing on one drum. You got the other drum, and then you got another drum. So you really got to know your coordination really well. You're not gonna get it the same way as opposed to 3 people playing the drums, because with 3 people playing the drums, they have their
own
right. But if it's one person, you got to get it right. So it's a serious instrument. It's not for, you know, kids. So you really got to get into it.
And you're playing that on which song?
I'm playing that on the Come Alive. There's a section within the Come Alive music that you hear the batter drums enter with the saxophone, and then I solo in a certain area, and then it continues throughout the song. But that's what I do. I'm a musician that thinks outside the box. I can play those things that everybody knows, but you as a musician, you want to set yourself different from everybody else, because that tends to happen with musicians or artists of today. They sort of want to copy. I hear some students that I had from years ago, they were singing like Beyonce and all those other people. I'm just like, we got enough Beyoncés out there,
Right.
So make this music sound like you.
Yeah.
Make it unique to you. That's the one thing that you can do, so.
Okay.
Khadija, are you gonna come up with a band or anything, or do you have a band?
I'm putting together. There are a couple of people that really wants to play with me ever since they've seen me play, because the most recent gig that I did was at 2+2, and a lot of people sighed and they heard it about it, and a lot of people are checking onto my Facebook page and stuff like that, and they really want to get to play with me. It's just that the time, and if they send the music, because most of the time I am not in the same country or the same city or whatever. I'm here in the islands. So they would send me the music. I'll think about it. If I want to play with it, I'll play with it. That, record it, send it back to them. They like it, change, move on. So there are some people here that wants to play with me as well. And we're just, again, it's just scheduling of time.
Okay.
That's all.
So were you looking to put together like a full band?
I'm looking to put together a 6-piece band.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I like it.
that's maybe, too much for, the hotel type of thing. But I'm not pitching myself to hotels, because, hotel is sleep and eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Music just plays a smaller segment, in just entertaining. I'm more than just entertaining. I'm trying to enlighten you, because the instruments that I play are more than just that.
Yeah, I got you. All right, so Khadijo, man, what's just real quick? You got some more songs coming out by end of the year, or
Within the next month,
Okay.
we got a tune that called Rasta Baby, and it's really cool. It's based upon a student of mine at the time that had his dreads, and he came in from being outside, and he was so hot, his dreads just took forever to dry out. And when I heard him complain about it, I heard the tune, and one of the females in my class are, the Rasta Baby is hot again. And immediately I went to my desk and just, started penning down some things, and that's how the Rasta Baby tune came about. I've got another tune that's coming out. It's the sweetest thing. It features Courtney Hicks. Courtney's a local singer here on the island, and she can't wait to break this out. So we've got.
you already put some stuff together already? On
Yeah,
this?
it's ready to go. It's just that it has to be mastered.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to showcase what Vibraphone reggae jazz music is going to be, and I hope that the Virgin Islands
with a female voice. Is this?
Well, Courtney is female, so, and we also have Janelle O'Connor. She adds the Spanish part to it, because I'm that type of guy that think outside the box. So I've incorporated a Spanish part inside of it, and Janelle says the Spanish monologue while Courtney does the melody on top.
Oh,
and my
man, I
vibraphone.
can't wait to hear this song
Yeah,
here.
that's gonna be amazing.
This year?
No, not this year. In the next 2 weeks.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's ready. It's ready to go. So I've got all this music. I just need to put it out there and just let you consume it for your nutritional value.
Yes.
So
Is any of your music playing on the local radio station?
I'm trying to get it out there, but it's again, I don't know if they're open to having stuff like that. I've sent it to radio stations throughout the Caribbean, and from what I've known of other islands, they have it in rotation, especially the Come Alive. They have it in good rotation. It's going all the time.
Okay.
I've listened to it online, and I'm like, hey, that's my song.
Yeah.
And it feels good,
Yes,
that because I remember sending it to Aruba, a DJ in Aruba, because Aruba and St. Lucia Jazz Festival is coming up, and I would like to, pitch myself towards getting on that stage. I just need the support and, of my Virgin Islands people to get me there. And the DJ emailed me right away and said, listen, send more and more and more and more of this stuff. I said, sure, it's coming.
Yes, sir.
So it's coming out there.
But here in the Virgin Islands, it's a little tricky.
Well, yeah, it's a little tricky because, it's almost like who you know type of thing.
Yes.
So when I meet Ras Isaiah, I'll let him know for sure.
Yes, sir.
I got you, man.
Right.
So, Khadijo, man, let everybody know how to get a hold of you. Facebook, telephone number, website, that kind of stuff.
Jump on Facebook, log on, email me, send me something, let me know what's going on. If you're a musician and you want to work with me, I'm open to that. My website is under construction right now, so it's going to be up within the next 2 weeks. My designer have been working on other projects, so it's coming. It's coming. But you can log on to Facebook for right now. If you know my number, you can call me. If you don't know my number, don't try to get it. That's just the way. I'm getting too many calls, to, hey, I want you to do this, I want you to listen to this, and that's fine. And it's great, but, I get bombarded.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So just do it through the email and message, and
you'll get back to them.
I will get back to you. I'm always open to working with people. So that's it.
All right. Well, we want to thank you for coming in the studio, man, and blessing us. I'm excited to hear this song with Courtney and some others there.
Great.
And just let me know, and we'll add it to our rotation as well. I told you that one song has been playing. Been playing, and we'll add the other one. And so we're going to close out, man, with a video of Khadija playing
The Vibraphones.
The Vibraphones.
Right.
At another interview.
Right.
And we'll just leave it at that.
Right.
All right. Here we go.
Establishing myself more and more, just like every other artist. We grow as we do things. In addition to doing music, I've also ventured into writing a children's story about music. I teach little children all the way up to 12th grade level, and the book that I have written is called We Are Music Stars, and it's a semi-autobiographical story of myself and going through my years of learning music and the people that I worked with and stuff like that. And this book can be found online as well, Author House or Amazon.com. So with this book, I've also written a play. That play is about to come out, but it's not ready as yet. So these are the things that I've been doing, and I've been recorded with people. And as you grow, you just grow with your music and your instrument. But now that I have made a transition from doing producing jazz and hip hop music or fusion music, acid jazz, whatever you call it, I've grown to specifically hunker down on just reggae and jazz music and putting the two together using the vibraphone as the principal instrument.